Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the StarCraft 2 World Championship Series Challenger Americas edition. I'm Nathanius, joined by another American in control. That's right. We know you guys had too much Roddy. We got rid of him, so we're going back to the American broadcast. He's back in the club. Everything's okay. They opened pretty early here in Southern California.
We bully him out of there. Like honestly, the way he was laughing at some of my analysis I was like, I'm getting you out of here. All right.
I take your role as a number cruncher very seriously, Jeffrey. Very seriously. The only thing more serious, of course, than that is American StarCraft. So with that being said, we're going to quickly go over the format once more. It is Challenger. A bunch of these young pups duked it out over the course of a period of time. And of course, we had our open bracket qualifiers very recently. 16 players, 8 of them are going to advance to the bracket. And then we will have one winner of Challenger. But of course, there's WCS points, seeding for WCS Summer, and money on the line in control.
Yeah, you got to do full Apollo though. Remember Apollo? YouTube tutorial.
What, should I call out some?
From 16 players, you go down to 8. From 8 to 4.
From 8 players to 4. And then in the round of 2 players will face off in a best of 7 to determine the champion of the World Championship Series Challenger
the battle no more.
America. And of course, we've got plenty of broadcasts coming up for you over the course of the next few weeks. Not only are we live today, but we'll be on tomorrow and the next 2 consecutive weekends after that as we reach the finals.
It's good British, but that's not Apollo.
No. Well, no one can really be Apollo other than him.
No.
But there you go. There's lots of StarCraft coming up. And did we mention there's money on the line? They're playing for stuff. People are playing video games for real money. $1,600 for first place, but of course, the best part about getting to that top 4, as Roddy was telling us, thankfully he knows the tournament structure way better than us, the people that have been doing it for months, is that those seeding for WCS Summer. And there's going to be a lot of money there in Kiev again, people fighting it out for the StarCrafts. Good stuff.
Pretty exciting announcement too. The next Challenger, they actually, I understand that they changed the prize support into Patreon tiers to tasteless. So actually first place will be a phone call to him. For that month, which is pretty incredible. Second place is going to be an email.
Wow. And I heard in third place he might send you a cheeky text message. And of course, wouldn't be America if we didn't have some wonderful American StarCraft players to show you, most notably as we get into it. Of course, MaSa, who always does well. We see him in every Challenger, one of the most dominant American players. But this season of Challenger for America is going to be all about the new players. We have so many players that y'all have probably not seen too much of. Rob is going to be playing against TLO. So many questions there. Rob has been one of these up-and-coming players. He's definitely underdog of this group. TLO, married, lives in Canada now. He's a full-on American. Actually saw him tweet this morning a photo. He had moose antlers on. So he's he has become about as Canadian as one can be. So we got a TvT to kick things off. Then we got a PVZ. And of course, as you all know, loser match, winner match, decider match. And if you don't know, now you know.
Now you know. You're in the know.
With that being said, we're going to start a new repugnancy. We have the lobby already going, so we'll be starting off Group A for America soon enough.
Yeah, I'm only slightly distracted. They're having a really robust conversation in the chat.
What are they talking about?
Well, for a while they were just spamming that. So here it comes again.
Oh, here we go. The facepalm emote. It's a lot of good.
What do you call those in game? Are those they're emotes?
Emotes.
Okay.
Emote, I guess. Yeah. It's kind of a universal term. It's unless you use it on your phone, then it's emoji is the word everyone uses.
Is that? Okay.
I mean, they're basically the same thing, right?
Yeah,
but
I thought so. Anyways, it's a TvT. MaSa, one of the WCS kind of names. You think back to that famous series against Scarlet. Cuddlebear, a little bit new, but also he's been here before, so it's kind of nice to see him back. And Roddy assures me he's very good.
Yeah. He's a North American ladder hero, to say the least, through and through. In the bottom left, he is your Red Terran player, the underdog for this matchup for sure. He is Cuddlebear. Won't be so cuddly 10 minutes from now, if we get to the 10-minute mark, of course.
Yeah. In the top right-hand side, from Korea, living in Canada, competing here, well, online in the Burbank studio of California. It's MaSa. Maru Kim.
Yeah, MaSa's kind of got a, I don't know, what's like the word? He kind of owns WCS America. He's like one of those guys, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a fixture.
It's It's where he reigns. It's where he reigns. So many WCS Challenger finals. MaSa, Neeb, Scarlet, kind of like the trifecta at the top. And then everybody else just kind of fights over the scraps, really, right? They get the Lion's Feast. If there's anything left over, some not freshly picked bones or something, these guys usually get something.
Mm-hmm.
Which, of course, leads me to my official opinion on this match is that I really want to see Cuddlebear do some weird stuff. Because MaSa comes in, he's the veteran. He's been here a bajillion times. He doesn't really lose, especially not to any of these players that are, you know, on a lower average scale than him. If you were watching this, your expectation should be that MaSa will make it very far. Probably top 4 challenger. If he doesn't, I would consider that a pretty big disappointment for him because of his previous results. He really mostly struggles when he has to play live offline at like big WCS events. Outside of those specific tournaments, he does very well in local Canadian tournaments. He does pretty darn well in our challengers we've already discussed. Interesting opening from Cuddlebear, though. He goes through the quick reactor into double Reaper. So he wanted to have that production a little bit earlier. And I guess it's also going to keep him safe against like an early Reaper Hellion poke. So TvT is honestly not too much has changed over the last few months from what I've been watching. We still have a lot of openers that rely on the 1-1-1 out of an expand. You can do it a bunch of different ways, but you always end up with the same setup. You kind of try to get the Raven or two. The Raven is so impactful, so big in this matchup. There really isn't anything that can neutralize it other than getting your own or getting a huge swath of units to get on top of someone with it. Yeah. But using Interference Matrix on siege tanks early on is huge. It'll opens the door for so many early like 2-base pushes that are still very common. Of course, at the highest level, we haven't been seeing a crazy amount of TvT recently, at least. I haven't seen too much. I've been watching a lot of PvP over in Korea lately. But Nate, I don't know that I expect anything crazy out of here in Control.
I like that you introduced the players, and you just wrapped up your point 3 minutes and 30 seconds into the game. Yeah. Would you say you're a fan of TvT? You got some things to say about the matchup,
I don't know. I was just trying to kill time for you because you just had to cast that 30-minute game.
Oh, you were just thinking about me. That's nice of you, dude.
I was trying to give you a break.
You are such a thoughtful guy. I appreciate that. Tell us about this double drop, this double attack.
You can tell me everything. You could talk if you want to, Jeff. It's okay. I recognize that's my weakness. Okay, yeah. Well,
here it is. 4 Marines in a tank.
This does happen.
This is normal, right?
It does happen. It's not the weirdest thing. Sometimes,
really?
I feel like a lot of times Terrans wait for a second medevac when they do this. Cyclones shut builds like this down pretty well, but killing as much as he has.
The Reapers got Citizen arrested, by the way.
Yeah.
Does this sound quiet for you?
No, I hear it just fine. Is it,
okay,
is it quiet in your headset?
If it's just quiet in my headset.
Roddy probably turned it down on you.
You know what?
Happened.
Now that you say that.
It's that knob. It's turned all the way to the left, man. I think it's the one on the right. If you just turn that up a little bit, there you go.
You're right.
Yeah.
Old Roddy, man. He's got the ears of a Viking. What's up?
Well, that's the problem, is he's actually so perfect. His hearing's too good, so he turns it very low, and then us people with our tinnitus cannot hear the game sounds. But the normal transition comes after, as it always does. The Ravens are coming out. The loss of that siege tank early on from doing the drop in TvT, there's kind of like it's like a weird rule of TvTs. It's like getting early worker damage does not really guarantee you anything because it's all about these units because of the way Terran production works that you're still going to be able to squeeze out like 1 or 2 here and there. Interesting choice to go for the auto turret instead of Interference Matrix.
What?
Because he loses the Cyclone, and just as like Cyclones are very close in cost to siege tanks, so trading
shut
like
it down, lock on it, and fly away. You just kill it, right, without taking any damage.
Yeah, he should have been fine there because the auto turret would not have killed the Cyclone. But
it's the same energy, isn't it?
No, Interference Matrix I think is. No, actually, never mind. You're right.
Yeah, it's the same.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know why he did that. I guess he was worried about SCVs being pulled to repair, so he wanted the turret for extra DPS.
Yeah.
But losing the Cyclone cuts your DPS in half anyway.
Maybe in his head the tank dies really quickly, and then he's able to snowball from there with an auto turret with some energy.
An important thing to keep track of in this best of 3 that I'll try to stay on top of is MaSa being the favorite, we have to worry about plays made and overconfidence, right? If he thinks that he is too much better than his opponent, maybe he will cut a corner here or there or make a mistake like that, if you can really call it a mistake. It's not that big of a deal. He did get the tank. The Cyclones pretty much fall off as soon as you're past this 1.5, 2 base setup.
Okay.
He's got his third command center. Third base is on the way for Cuddlebear, so it looks like we're heading into a standard game. MaSa is going to be played Mac. Cuddlebear starts stim, so he'll be playing bio.
Nate, I saw a meme, and it comes with the Terran question, so this is perfect for you. Why is it that it said something along the lines of 2 Ravens there are always, never 1 and never 3? Of course, there's 3 on screen right now. Dang it! But
well, the 3 is very weird, though. You're right. You bringing that up is actually very appropriate, Jeffrey, because Ravens are just the interference matrix. Because you can cast 4 from a full energy Raven, and there's no energy denial early on for Terran like this. You just want to have the Vikings to bully away the air control. Because if you had a couple more Vikings instead of this, if you had like 5 Vikings instead of the 3 Ravens, and you had maybe just the 2 instead, like then you can kind of push this back more easily. But he can still interference matrix both tanks here. I feel like it's really, Ravens are actually kind of weirdly unwieldy because the turret range to cast is so short. And they don't actually fight, but this is just very awkward. A bunch of auto turrets thrown on top of each other. The tank somehow survives at the end of that. So crazy. Natural's still getting sieged here by Cuddlebear. This position's really good. As long as he doesn't lose his high ground vision, these tanks are going to have a really hard time securing that Natural. He loses.
Well, the Vikings got so close. It's got 1 health, right? But the Marines are going to swing over here and give the vision again.
Marines are just going to give a little tap, tap, tap-a-roo to that siege tank. There you go, GG.
Now, Nate, you had called for them to play kind of weird. Was that weird enough from Cuddlebear? Was that off kilter? Or did he just kind of outplay MaSa there?
The position there was just really bad. Like, MaSa took his third. He had it mining. He had the 3 Ravens there. He was going into Viking production around the time that push hit. But I feel like there's something missing there because he delayed the 3rd command center that was building. Cuddlebear built it on location, and the army moved out from that position to the natural expand. So there should have been some inkling because whatever was there that delayed the 3rd died, I imagine. And then he should have seen that there was an army that could be coming his way. So you either scan or you check in some other manner, but that's like a classic got him position on that map as well. Like, if you can get the tanks there and your opponent just doesn't have anything.
So hard to dislodge.
Yeah, it's very, very awkward. Also, really weird. All the Ravens just dumped, like, 6 auto turrets all around each other. Very bad for MaSa. Interference matrix is necessary to get rid of those 2 tanks below his base.
Oh, good point, yeah.
So that was also just a very awkward engagement. And it was even more weird that MaSa still survived that with one of the tanks originally, but it wasn't able to get into a good spot. It's just a weird game all around because he should have had air control to deny the high ground vision, but he went for the 3rd Raven instead. And yeah.
I kind of like that from Cuddlebear, though, that he put the game on that decision, and MaSa ends up kind of obliging him by making the wrong call. But because of how pivotal the Raven is in that spot, like you were saying, to break out the tanks on the low ground below his natural, or just to have map control of sorts.
Yeah.
By taking that away from him, or at least forcing him to make a choice right there in exchange for the 2 tanks that they were fighting over, it was always going to be favorable for Cuddlebear, I think, right? Yeah,
I think Cuddlebear made the right call. Like, when he went for the tank and he put down his turrets, I like the turrets in that situation because you're not really in a position to kill those tanks with just the Ravens. You don't want to move your tanks. They're already in the perfect spot. Yeah. But by doing that, he forced MaSa into dumping all of his Raven energy into turrets there, which was not the right call because he saved the tank, but, like, at what cost? What did the tank end up doing? Nothing. So that was definitely a really good play. I think if you're MaSa looking at that again, losing the tank or 2 sucks, but if you can get the 3 Ravens to drop like 4 or 5 auto turrets on that high ground, the 2 tanks in the low ground will not kill those turrets. The Marines aren't in range to kill those turrets. You just focus down the siege tanks if you can, and ideally you have some Vikings, which he didn't in that situation, but ideally you do have Vikings. And then once the tanks are gone, the Marines can't really do anything from the low ground, and the game continues normally. But just very awkward how all 5 Ravens in the game just used all their energy on that one spot, and then after that, it's like, well, yeah, that's why you don't build more than 2 Ravens, because the extra Vikings give you a lot of value, and if you land them by tanks, they also destroy them really well.
Well, all right, Cuddlebear beginning to work on a bit of an upset. MaSa is a long-time kind of TvT sniper, although I do recall last WCS he said himself that he's not confident, but that was like just before he then thrashed another Terran.
Yeah.
Sometimes MaSa is one of those guys that when he starts talking about StarCraft, no disrespect to him, but you kind of have to like take it for the grain of salt. Not because he doesn't know what he's talking about, but because he's always like, he's always kind of misinforming. He's like, yeah, I don't practice, so I don't know, I'm not confident, I'll just do weird stuff. And it's like, he shows up and he just myrtleites people, and you're like, okay. Dude.
That is MaSa to a T as well. I still can't get over when he played the WESG Toronto finals, and I was there with Fear Dragon, and they're like, yeah, basically, I took holiday off because this was like back in January. He's like, I took holiday, and I haven't really played, and everyone told me battle cruisers are good. So then he just massed BCs and beat Scarlet, and everyone's like, has he actually not been practicing?
Yeah.
Do you just roll up and win like that? Like, I don't know, but coincidentally, battle cruisers were nerfed later that week. But I digress.
And yet they're
You're
still
right.
good.
You're right. MaSa is just he's a very interesting case as far as StarCraft players go. I think there's one run that we talk about in WCS, like in a live event. Was it Austin, like a year or two?
Oh, yeah.
It was like 2 years ago now.
Second place.
He like finally got far, but that's kind of like always been his story, is that he does stupid well in Canadian tournaments. He does really well in Canadian tournaments. We always see him at the end of Challengers in WCS. He always qualifies for everything, but when he goes to play on the stage at a circuit event, we don't really see the same MaSa that we get everywhere else, and it's kind of weird. I don't know.
I mean, weird for how good he is, I get that, but it's actually like the most common thing in StarCraft. Most people are very good at this game when you're completely comfortable. Well, okay, relatively speaking. You're good at this game or better when you're comfortable, but then you get and you face another top-tier opponent with thousands of people watching with money on the line. And there are entire swaths of player throughout history who are like regarded as the best training partner and amazing in practice, but could never get results.
Yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is I feel like MaSa should have the experience to not play so differently when he gets into an offline tournament. Because he also wins in front of crowds in Canada, too. Obviously, not to the same degree as playing in a big arena for the circuit, of course, but yeah.
Well, that's one of the things I love about this game so much, is it's such a mental game. So maybe it's not the crowd per se, but it's like the caliber of opponent. It hits a certain tier, and then for him, you know, that just little bit of extra pressure diminishes his confidence so much that his play style starts to crumble, right? Like he's a really brash, aggressive type of player. If you take away a little bit of confidence, all of a sudden they can't handle it as well. It's definitely a thing.
Yeah, this is a really awkward moment as well. A lot of Terran players, when you try to go for this Reaper expand and you don't go for the crazy fast factory, you get the reactor early on too. It puts you in a really weird spot where some Terrans will, after that like gas barracks, gas factory where they pull off SCVs and expand, they'll build like 3 or 4 Reapers and a bunch of Hellions. And actually, I'd say on America's server, that's really not too far off of what you see in a lot of games in Grandmaster League. But in this case, he takes a little bit of a beating from that early Reaper poke, but he's able to get the bunker up. He steps forward, and actually getting the kill on the Hellion there is really nice too. But that's always one of those like dicey things. It's kind of normal in TvT to have this aggressive interaction where the Reapers are trying to find some purchase, but usually what ends up happening is the guy with the bunker kind of hangs in there, and then the Cyclone pops and everything goes back to normal.
We're just came in on the wrong side to finish off that Reaper, but at this stage it's not a big deal. The time of the Reaper has kind of come and gone.
One of the most important things though is this third gas. This is what lets you get the Raven and the tanks. So that early pressure on the low ground can be annoying if it delays that aspect of it, since it really helps you afford everything that you need. And Cuddlebear actually hasn't taken a gas in his natural yet, so I'm curious to see maybe the delay from that early attack kind of like floated him a little bit, so he'll be able to start a tank, but he won't be able to build a second Raven and another tank consecutively unless he takes the gas like maybe 5 seconds ago. Instead, he's going to get the third command center up.
And still the siege tank. And he has a Cyclone. Keep that in mind. They're not bad defensively.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about whose position I like more right now. Third command center is much faster for MaSa. That's also going to give him his supply, which is nice. The Raven is out for both players. And yeah, he couldn't go into the second Raven because he didn't take the gas in the natural. So he's going to play with just the one So he should be able to maintain consistent tank production after he starts stim. I wonder if MaSa is going to be going into that mech setup again this game. He's taking his 4th gas.
And he's actually making a... No, those units again. I was making a Reapers. Oh my god. Why?
That would be quite curious. But he's checking for a 3rd. And then I guess in this stage for TvT, all that basically happens is one guy gets stim. If there isn't a big tank Raven push, which is still on the table for MaSa, because he went for the double Raven.
Yeah.
So he can swap and try to do a Viking Raven push if he wants to. And I think it could work out really well for him because Cuddlebear only went for a single Raven, and his stim is still kind of far off. So there's an opportunity here. But otherwise, you try to get that 3rd, and then it just turns into ye old standard mech versus bio TvT, where players sort of jockey for positioning. I say that MaSa does start stim behind this, so he won't be following this up with mech. But this attack is really hard to stop, and there's a reason why it's 2 Ravens. There's a lot more interference matrices available. He can lock down both of the tanks. He can use the turrets. Interesting choice.
He actually went after the Raven and shut it down. Now, keep in mind, behind this, MaSa is already landing and taking his 3rd. So I don't know that this attack has a lot in terms of like kill potential, but what I like about it is that because it's out on the map, his 3rd will get saturated fine, whereas Cuddlebear is going to be behind. So as long as his whole army doesn't go away.
Yeah, this was that was really awkward for MaSa. I like this a lot for Cuddlebear. He was able to deal with everything, and the tanks are gone. So this siege is completely off the board. Saves the Raven. I was going to say if he lost it, that's not even too terrible because he killed both Ravens of MaSa.
Yeah.
Just a very, very awkward start there, but very well done by Cuddlebear to focus down those 2 Ravens because those really are what set you up super, super well. And force the auto turret drop again.
Yes.
The interference matrix is...
Raven, put it.
You can get your tanks in position just better.
Okay.
Okay.
1-1 is queued up quite a bit faster, by the way, for Cuddlebear. He stims to pick off one of the Vikings and is chipping away at the other. Won't get it. Tank alerts Cuddlebear to the fact that he is no longer welcome up there. But now the tank count becomes a bit of a problem too, right?
Yeah. Right now we're at 2 to 3, so it's still it's very close. MaSa moves the 3rd command center back. I think that was actually a really nice move out from Cuddlebear. Despite this piecemeal army, there's still not enough from MaSa to actually defend it. But tries to go for the drop, loses the 1 medevac, loses the Raven, and oof, ouch, owie. And I know, oh god, he's just, don't siege those tanks. He's gonna land the Vikings on you if you siege those. So those 2 Marines are gonna try to do something. Die, great supply depot, die! Meanwhile, 2 Marines on the other side of the map kill some SCVs.
And MaSa gets this, by the way. There's a big
tanks.
fight happening up there, yeah. Gets the tanks too. MaSa gets this fight because of how annoyingly consistent he was with the Vikings, right? Like, a lot of people would have just left him, they're sitting over the army or whatever, they're an afterthought. He was being annoying with him the whole time, and that's part of the MaSa special. He's going to micro the crap out of whatever it is he has. Yeah,
this looks a little bit more towards the expectation I had earlier. MaSa's got a great setup. The upgrades, as you pointed out, are going to be way ahead for Cuddlebear. So my only concern is he lost so much without doing any damage that he's going to have a difficult time getting an even fight. And I say even because that's actually what he would want in this scenario. When you have an upgrade lead, Marines don't just win an even fight. They wipe the floor. So this Marine. That opportunity is slipping away from him. And yeah, that Marine, if it spots this, would be pretty sick.
Oh my god, it just does. Oh my god. And it's because it's behind that hill,
block,
you guys. This game actually has dimensions like that.
There's terrain. It turns out he cannot just see the other
upgrades
side
are
of
right
the
here.
giant boulder.
He kills these upgrades. It's ridiculous.
Oh my god, the denial on 1-1 would be insane. Yeah, he focuses. Great situational awareness out of Cuddlebear. I really liked where this game was headed for MaSa, but this is a catastrophic denial. Honestly, I'd say just like, you could even just boost all the medevacs out there, leave the Marines here with that tank, and just stall out. Yeah, well, his Marines are just so much better. He's got 2-2 started, and MaSa just now has to restart those engineering bays.
Yeah. And like you said, just now restart. So it's not even that the upgrades have began. He's literally building the buildings to do that. So we'll see how quick he is on kind of recouping those losses.
That's so sick. You know, when you come in with 4 medevacs, you lose a tank, a ton of Marines, you lose 3 of the medevacs, and you don't kill any workers. That on paper sounds terrible. But you denied 1-1 after you went fast upgrades.
A 4 upgrade advantage is ridiculous.
If he takes a fight with 2-2 versus unupgraded Marines, then there will be a small window for that. I don't think he'll be able to hit that because that's going to be very, very tight. But that is a, like, I don't even know. Like, everything comes down to the tanks at that point because the Marines will be completely useless.
Well, the funny thing, the other side of that, so yes, if he takes a fight, that's favorable, but it actually just kind of closes the door on MaSa being out on the map, right? So like expansion denying, all that kind of stuff becomes really problematic for him. And that's the comfort afforded to Cuddlebear with that upgrade advantage.
Because I thought MaSa was doing a pretty solid job with his poking and harassing, but it's 69 SCVs to 64. Both players have all the economy that they need for the rest of this game. Typically, what happens next? You try to add on some command centers to get orbitals, especially since we're looking at American StarCraft. We're getting a good amount of orbital commands for dropping tons of mules in TvT, lots of scans. Players look for Doom drops, but one of the biggest changes, the metagame in general for Terrans in the last year especially, sensor towers all day, even when you're not playing mech. Every Terran player nowadays, you gotta get the sensor towers. The usage has increased. They're obviously very helpful for dealing with those Doom drops, which kind of took over the TvT bio versus bio meta for a long time. But the map awareness increase across the board has really helped there. Now 1-1's not done yet, so this attack. He's got the 4 upgrade lead. The tanks do their best, but as soon as this becomes Marine versus Marine, MaSa dies instantly, but he has his tank staggered back. Very, very well done. Well held so far. He's going to get a little bit of a counterattack on this command center, trying to float over towards the 5th. And I think there's a Liberator on his 3rd right now, too.
Yeah, MaSa's all over the place is what he does. It's very hard to keep up with him that way. And he's got that supply advantage, and that is mostly in army right now. So his army is sizable. And the good news for Cuddlebear and his supporters would be that that is the supply you'd want him to be ahead in, because the upgrades can kind of make up the difference for now. 3rd attack upgrades queued up, but the armor was kind of forgotten. So just keep your eye on that production tab, because if that continues, then that'll be a bit of an issue.
Yeah, I mean, the most ridiculous thing of all is not even that it's like, oh, he had that 4 upgrade advantage, but having the 2 upgrade advantage is still crazy. So the fact that it's 2-2 versus 1-1 is still a very, very big thing. Any fight for Cuddlebear, Marine versus Marine, should be good. But MaSa trying to flex that multitask muscle, getting the drop over there, denying the mineral mining, hold position so that he doesn't get baited into the planetary fortress, very big. But Cuddlebear just needs to force a fight where he can really leverage his upgrade advantage. And MaSa has too many siege tanks for that to be an easy thing to do. So credit where credit is due. MaSa's done a really good job of playing the positional game, even though he's had some disadvantages.
Yeah, look at that mini-map too with the sensor towers you're talking about. Everything is coded. There'll be no sneaking around here.
Nope.
And it is MaSa that's finding something, and not necessarily what's on screen right now. That's getting shut down pretty hard, but we're going to have a big engagement over here on the right side. The tank count of Cuddlebear has been dwindled here, so this fight's going to go massively in MaSa's favor. It's
funny, while those tanks are sieging, the Marines from MaSa start to melt to Cuddlebear's, but as soon as they finish, of course, they all get blasted to pieces. So he's not been able to really take a huge advantage of that upgrade lead. Very unfortunate. I mean, it comes a lot from the lost drops, a lot of those pot shots he was eating from the tanks. And now MaSa is saying, hey, I think this is my best opportunity to take this. He got extra starports, by the way, so he's going to start mixing in Liberators for anti-tank denial. And he can start Liberator range if he wants to as well.
Interestingly, some Vikings here from Cuddlebear, but not a significant number.
Yeah.
So he does lose that air battle. And the medevacs and what was left of the Vikings are all low in health. So
I don't actually know how Cuddlebear breaks out of this. There's so many siege tanks. What really needs to happen is Liberator range. This is really good. He has vision on those tanks, so his can do shots. But there we see the Liberator come back in, and he's got his Marines in a great spot too.
Yeah. I think Cuddlebear's been wrestled away from that advantage that he had earlier.
You can see a bit in the flustering, right? He's not utilizing all of his production. He's not building anything out of his factory. He's floating a lot of resources. That to me just says he's feeling a lot of stress, a lot of pressure right now in control.
Yeah. Oftentimes it's just before the GG. They're kind of sitting there thinking about it a little bit. This positioning is just so strong because it also severs off the 6 o'clock base over there. And this command center floating to the lower left. So if MaSa wins this positioning, the game's over. There's no expansion on the right side of the map for Cuddlebear. And I think he will. He's up 6 supply, and it looks like these are the final kind of killings here.
Yeah, he's got this. Very well done. Very, very well done. Cuddlebear, I think big thing that stands out to me, bled out a good amount of tanks. The tanks he lost on the top side at the start of the game, the tank he lost in the drop. I won't hate on the drop tank too much because it did deny the upgrades, but at this point, MaSa has made this work through just sheer force of will with these siege tanks, just inching across the map despite the upgrade disadvantage. At 1.4 upgrade disadvantage, he's just got too many tanks for Cuddlebear to attack into with his superior Marines. GG, MaSa ties it up.
Not bad. And I guess if you had to put it into kind of a short synopsis, what was the quick comeback? Like, why was MaSa able to lose all his upgrades? Yes, he was up like 15, 20 supply, but why did he make it so one-sided from there?
Just tank. Just
the tanks.
Maintaining the siege tank count in bio versus bio is just as important as anything else. And because of the usage of things like sensor towers and the high Viking count that MaSa had from the beginning of the game, I think that made Cuddlebear too scared to try another like Doom drop or something.
Okay.
Because in a scenario where you can get a big drop and you're not fighting pre-sieged tanks, that upgrade advantage for the Marines, it's just going to be ridiculous, right? And of course, it would help them with destroying infrastructure. But that's why we see, one of the reasons why we see the early Ravens with the Vikings. A lot of it is about maintaining those too. So you want to kind of hold on to them as long as you can. Like in a late game fight, if he has a Raven from the beginning of the game somehow, and you can lock down 4 siege tanks, it can be a huge game changer. But yeah. Cuddlebear did a really good job, but he bled out a lot of his tanks with those move outs. And that final push was just MaSa saying, I'm maxed out, and you just lost like 4 tanks outside my base, so I'm just going to attack you and see what happens. And Cuddlebear only had like 4 or 5 tanks to like 12 for MaSa.
Yeah.
And then he had Liberators as well, so it was like, you can't attack the Liberator without getting in range of the tanks, and then all your Marines die, so.
Yeah, I think MaSa's commitment to the air strength was a big winning factor there as well. One of the reasons Cuddlebear found himself kind of behind in that game actually was that medevac assault where he loses 3 medevacs, all the Marines, like 3 or 4 tanks, basically for free because he was loading up and they were getting picked off by the Vikings.
Yep.
And then the tanks got isolated and picked off in the middle of the map too. So that was where things got scary for Cuddlebear, but that drop on the upgrades kind of brought him back. It was just a very swingy back and forth game, very nice. But that does mean we're going to go into game number 3 here as MaSa and Cuddlebear all tied up.
Yeah, Cuddlebear definitely seemed to get more flustered as the game went longer, despite the advantages that he had, which to me says, try something a little more aggressive maybe this round. Hopefully, I was gonna say like I guess we don't have a break before we go into game 3 or anything. But if I was him, I would, seeing the way that he reacted at the end, I'd be like, maybe try to take a minute or so for yourself. There we go.
Well,
there we go. Okay, he's gonna channel his inner NA spirit animal, bring out the proxy racks, 2 SCVs going out. This is a little bit more what I expected in a matchup where you are not the favorite by any means. If we look at the timeline, right, Cuddlebear doesn't beat MaSa. He's not supposed to. If we look at the newspaper from 2024 where it talks about the old WCS matches, it's like, yeah, MaSa won 2-0. Cuddlebear taking a map I thought was pretty impressive already, but he's trying to rewrite history right now with a 2 racks. 2 racks Reaper.
And what are you looking for with this? Just isolate the first Reaper, pick it off, and then win from there?
Yeah, that's, if you can do that, you pretty much guarantee the win. Like that's the big play, and you'll probably see the SCV get attack moved with that as well. The move here, if you're on the defender side, if you don't SCV scout, it hurts. And MaSa is SCV scouting, but he's going to miss it. He has not run into that proxy. He does not know this is happening. And because this would be big, because the worst thing you can do is send your Reaper out of your base. Okay, he scouts it. This is really nice. These barracks will both finish. They should be able to both finish. So Cuddlebear can do his strategy, but now he has to think about, okay, if I get pushed back at all, he's going to need to switch back and bring a factory at home or something like that. It's very hard to force this 2 racks. Like, he's not doing some insane, like, 3 racks or 4 racks Reaper all in. But once that factory is done for MaSa, and he can get a couple Hellions out. Yeah, he's even building a bunker by his mineral line. So he's just saying, absolutely not. I'm going to play very defensively. And he should.
That's Cuddlebear's only making the 1 Reaper. I think he's bailing out.
Yeah, that 1 Reaper is all you should build.
He makes 2 more.
Okay, he's going to continue. He's going to double down on it. I guess he's going to make the most of this build because he's already invested in it. But oftentimes what happens is you try to send that first Reaper out to scout around your base. Then the 2 Reapers jump it, you kill it, and then you've got 4 Reapers versus maybe 1 Reaper and a Hellion. And Hellions not actually beat Reapers 1 versus 1, so you have to pull SCVs, and that's when the build starts to get value. But MaSa proxying on the other side of the map.
Probably Liberator.
Yeah, Liberator's a good call.
Could be a medevac, I guess, but I would like the Liberator.
Yeah. Do you think he forces it? Do you think he just... Yeah, he's just going to jump up this ramp. All right. Well, he's putting Marines in the bunker, so this Reaper is kind of isolated. A little bit. Nope, doesn't get it.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
A little bit of an anti-timing, and he doesn't even get the Reaper, which, again, not the biggest of deals, because if the Reaper dies, whatever, there's still stuff in the bunker, and there's a Hellion out, so...
I wonder what he does at the factory, because if he doesn't go straight to a Cyclone, that Liberator should just win the game like, instantly. If MaSa just builds a Liberator on the other side of the map, there shouldn't be anything Cuddlebear can do unless he goes straight for a Cyclone.
Nope, Tech Lab add-on.
Okay. So the Cyclone will be maybe like halfway done by the time the Liberator is in the base. Maybe even less than that. But he doesn't have anything. The barracks aren't home, so he can't build Marines. He doesn't have a starport, so he can't build Vikings.
Okay, the Hellion, or excuse me, the Reaper's getting some work done there, though. The Hellion got a little overambitious and dies. But yeah, the Liberator.
It's good control here. But yeah, Liberator's about to pop. Cyclone is just now starting. So he's gonna be able to deny a lot of mining. But to what you just pointed out, he's done a really good job with the Reapers. He's made the most of this. But this is the most annoying part about TvT when you get into these situations. You're like, oh, I built myself across the other side of the map. Liberators are not easy to kill. And it also takes a while to kill him anyway. So now these Reapers are going to get some damage done, though. Big opportunity here. Both sides are going to take a lot of damage.
He's not pulling SCVs, Nate. So if these Reapers die, he's going to go home and be like, wait a second. Oh, he did pull. Okay.
Nice.
After 7.
Yeah, did lose a lot, though. You're right. Denies and delays that command center. This is actually really, really good for Cuddlebear. Yeah. This control's been pretty sick. There's not really anything here. Yeah, he's got to pull the SCVs again. Oh, my goodness.
Imagine, well, I guess 2 more Reapers wouldn't have helped here because the Cyclone's about to pop out, so this will be shut down, right?
Eventually, yeah. I think. I'm trying to... Yeah. I'm trying to crunch numbers in my own.
Oh, you're crunching numbers?
Jeff. Yeah, I'm trying.
Don't let me overstop
it. It hurts. Well, the command center, the natural one, is pretty far along. That one for MaSa got delayed a little bit, so that brings the economy even closer in that way. SCV count's very similar. He's researching Cloak out of the proxy starport, and he's going to try to rally Marines. This is actually really sick. He's going to 1 Marine for 1 SCV is what he's guaranteeing himself if he does this, because he will instantly kill that 1 hit point one that's just chilling there. A gas. He could probably get a second one if he focuses the one in the gas.
Or he gets nothing.
Yeah, he got an SCV out of it.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he got the one in the mineral line. And these Reapers actually return.
Their final hoorah.
That's annoying, but he starts the Raven. The Banshee's finally coming out, and it's going to have... Is the Cloak going to line up with this Raven? No. He'll have a few shots he can get in, I think.
Yeah, if not a scan, which looks like he's...
Well, he just spent his energy. So that'll be annoying. That'll be a little bit annoying. He's going to take a lot of damage, potentially, before this Raven comes out. If he kills the Cyclone. What? Okay, well, this is nice, but he's still not in position to defend against this.
Even just pushing it back and buying a little bit of time, though, that means the Raven is going to be out.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, this Banshee waited a little bit more. He wanted to push exactly with Cloak, but yeah. I guess the Raven timed out a little bit closer than I thought.
Because it loses to a Cyclone, so that's why you need a Cloak, I guess. You always need a Cyclone there.
Yeah, well, this is really good then, because those Reapers, when he sent those Reapers back in to get those handful of SCVs, that basically just afforded him the small loss that he just had out of that Banshee. And now the Raven and the Cyclone are pre-positioned, so he's good. He's getting a second Cyclone, so if another Banshee flies in, it's going to die real fast.
Tell me about the starport.
I think he is expecting to lose the one that he has out on the map, would be my guess. I'd be surprised if his strategy was going to turn into, like, mass Banshee, which doesn't work in TvT at all.
Yeah, that scan's a party breaker. Get up! Get up! See now, Nate. How do you sleep at night? You saw that. It was out of the range of the scan, and yet he still saw it.
The Cyclone is amazing. Okay, so because it's ability damage and not weapon damage, oh my god, that's so awkward to lock on like that. But because it's ability damage and not weapon damage, the ability will always go to its target and hit and deal its damage. Oh, he might lose this. Might have to interference. Matrix loses it anyway. Oh my god.
Shot was midair. It's too late.
Well, he's still gonna get it, but that's. It's just one of those things that like shouldn't happen. Oh my god, I love that he's also re-queued the next tech lab.
Yeah, it's already queued up.
That's the best part.
And it actually would have worked because he's already just like, I'm done.
Terran players on the ladder when someone, oh my god. It's going to say, Terran players in the ladder, when someone does this to you, assert dominance. Float your barracks or something over there and land on that tech lab and take it.
I'm making use of this.
You can, yeah. Whenever someone proxy marauders me or something like that, I'm like, that's my goal is to take that tech lab.
Peg it.
Yeah.
Dock with it.
Weirdly enough, yeah, if you dock someone else's add-on and that add-on gets destroyed, it counts as your resources lost. Now, how does that make sense in Control? I don't know.
How do you know this?
Because I play too much StarCraft.
There's never too much to play StarCraft.
Well, there you have it. This is a lot of tanks, by the way. Cuddlebear has 2 Ravens. I really like his setup here. This map is very hard to defend on because of that position by the main. He's going to the natural ramp, which...
The timing of this for Cuddlebear.
Oh my god. If Cuddlebear goes now, MaSa's going to be like stuck halfway in the middle of the map. This is your opportunity. Just do it.
He's doing it.
Do it.
The only thing I'm worried about is the 4 Marines.
Why the 3rd Raven? Okay, there you go. He's got the Vikings going back home now. Go now. Go now.
MaSa
Go
needs
now.
to
Go
recall
now.
his army back or he's in trouble. He can't, though, because he's Terran. Yeah,
Well,
right to the production.
we got ourselves quite a game. We
I like how
are.
you're not supposed to base trade against Terran, and there's 2 Terrans just doing exactly that.
Yeah. Well, we have ourselves a bit of a base trade scenario here in Control.
Ravens, right?
Does
for
he
days.
have? Oh, man. See, if he could just buy himself a little bit of time because he's got that wall. It's like, get a tank in your main, just try to barely hold on. It's all about, like, every single tiny thing counts for so much. Actually, this repair,
Viking.
I love this repair on this Viking. It seems so silly, but it's so important if he can deny high ground vision here.
Yes.
He loses the natural command center, by the way. He didn't lift it off. So he just has the 2 orbitals in his main now.
MaSa's got no production. He's down 30 supply, Nate. It's over. It's all ogre.
Well memed is all I have to say in Control.
He needs to scan here. I think he's got on the 2nd command center, maybe? No. Oh, if he kills the tank. God, this gets
The
so
army
weird.
supply is dead even, and he can't build anything. Cuddlebear can't build anything because he's supply blocked. So, okay, that scan's really important. He just lost his starport. His factory is actually about to die. He's about to lose half his SCVs. Tries to main art
3
them away,
Vikings,
but
though. Right? And now it's going to be versus 0 Vikings.
yeah. No, I still think Cuddlebear's got this, but this was TvT.
It's scrappy.
It's just very. He could screw this up. It is possible for Cuddlebear to screw this up, and that's why I'm nervous to be like make a hard call on it.
Well, he's just going for it. Here comes MaSa.
Yeah, see, it's like tanks are nice, but it's just the one tank, and there's no wall to buffer, so that tank will die. Now the Marines are in the main. We talked about the supply. Well, it's about to flip the other way, and there's 3 orbitals, or 2 orbitals and 1 non-transformed command center from MaSa flying around. Cuddlebear's only got the 2, and one of them is about to start burning from this. Yeah, should 100% die to these Marines.
Ooh, if they could grab that tank, actually. Yeah,
Oh!
exactly. No, they're going to go for it. There's no stim on the Marines. Oh, but they don't get good surface area, so they can't do it.
Wow. I was going to say, SCVs are like, read the instructions for dismantling instead of repairing.
So MaSa has no money, by the way, too. And if you look at the units tab, his SCV count is 0.
Well, he can use mules to rebuild since he has those 3 orbitals afford him a lot of supply. Also, rule number 1, in my opinion, of TvT base trades. This is exclusively my opinion. Always try to get the depots. Always make sure you get the depots.
Hey.
MaSa gets the depots. MaSa still has
4 tanks, Nate. How do you break that?
MaSa still has 4 depots back home, so he can actually build stuff. Cuddlebear is, I guess his worker count will allow him to, since he can actually mine.
Nate, 4 tanks, man.
No, I don't think.
How far you want to take this? How excited can you get?
Oh, I just love base trades.
Well,
I don't think games like this are.
This is a big brother versus little brother base trade, though.
I'll see.
That died for free.
The Ravens are the ace.
Auto turrets forever. Yeah, he
The
just
Ravens are
repairs
the
the
ace
Ravens.
player here. Yeah.
It's energy based. Just go ahead and drop them every time they kill something.
He did get a lot of his workers out of there too.
Yeah, it's really bad, Nate. It's 18-2 workers.
Yeah, I know. But the game's not over yet.
If
so
Cuddlebear loses this,
I've got to analyze all the possible outcomes here.
Got a tweet here from No Regret. If Cuddlebear loses this, No Regret is willing to eat his shoes, pants, and shirt at the next GSL.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's actually pretty sick.
I made that up, Nate. But it'd be pretty cool if he said that.
That would be pretty cool.
I think Moss is having a little bit of a blind moment right now. He's gonna... Oh yeah, everything's getting found.
Yeah, Cuddlebear's, he's in a good spot. I was just thinking about his nerves. I don't know. I don't think there's ever a situation where you can't throw. So.
Well, I would normally disagree with you, but I've seen. What was his name? The Polish Zerg?
Which one? Oh, MVP versus Teffel?
Yeah, Teffel.
Yeah, exactly.
We were all there.
Cuddlebear could throw this. Kappa.
That game will live on in infamy forever. So now it's Cuddlebear is going to be comfortable attacking for it. That to me is a little bit questionable. What he's going to go for, he's got the shutdowns. Shuts down the closest tank. I like that choice, by the way.
Get the Ravens out of there. Okay, yeah, no. Okay. He did exactly what he needed to do. Auto turrets killed everything. GG. Cuddlebear takes the first series here of Group A for WCS America.
There's that upset, Nate. We talked a little bit about it.
That's sick. That's really awesome. Cuddlebear played a heck of a third game here in this series. Really well done.
And Roddy was talking about that. Cuddlebear's turned a new kind of corner. He looked good. The strategies were great. Yes, there was some slop, but also that's TvT. Like, you're never going to see a crisp TvT is kind of a weird thing.
Clean TvTs don't really happen anymore, honestly.
Yeah.
It almost always boils down to like that. Really, that Raven play at the start is so crucial and impactful because this game turned into like proxy versus later proxy.
Yeah,
it was weird for different reasons, but yeah, I think Cuddlebear just got a lot more damage done with those Reapers than I thought he would. With like the Liberator hitting him at the same time, like I didn't expect him to get through that. I guess maybe that bunker was salvaged too early or something, but whatever. Oh, I'm gonna be thinking about that match. Let me think about that match for a while, but we've got another match coming up. Of course, that was only our first one. Do you like Protoss and do you like Zerg? Well, you're in luck because we've got both of them in the next best of 3. It's gonna be Rob versus TLO. Don't miss it. We'll be right back.